The story focuses on a man named John Murdoch. He wakes up in a hotel bathtub with total amnesia, unable to remember anything about his identity. After accidentally knocking over a fishbowl, he quickly saves the fish by placing it into the bathtub water. While getting dressed, Murdoch finds a postcard for a place called Shell Beach. Moments later, the telephone rings. A man claiming to be his doctor warns him that his memories have been erased as part of an experiment. The doctor urges him to flee immediately. Before Murdoch can fully process this, he is shocked to discover the brutalized corpse of a woman in the room, forcing him to escape the scene. Murdoch heads down to the lobby, noticing that it is exactly midnight. Curiously, all clocks have stopped at 12 a.m., and every person in the building has mysteriously fallen unconscious, except for him. Shortly after, time resumes, and everyone abruptly wakes up. The hotel receptionist informs Murdoch that he has been staying there for 3 weeks. Upon checking the guest register, Murdoch discovers his name is listed simply as J. Murdoch, which he soon realizes stands for John Murdoch. Meanwhile, at a local bar, we are introduced to a beautiful singer named Emma, who is John's wife. She is approached by the same doctor who called John earlier, Dr. Schreber. The doctor claims to be John's personal psychiatrist, explaining that he had been treating John for severe anxiety and mild delusions caused by Emma's recent infidelity. He warns Emma that John has suffered a severe psychotic break and memory loss, urging her to contact him immediately if John tries to find her. At the crime scene, Inspector Bumstead and his team begin investigating the murder room, naming John Murdoch as their primary suspect. Emma is soon called to the police station for questioning. She refuses to believe her husband is a killer, but the inspector shocks her by revealing that John is actually suspected of murdering not just 1 but 6 women. Overwhelmed, Emma leaves the station. Still wandering with no memory, John meets a sex worker who helps him evade 2 suspicious police officers. She takes him back to her apartment, thinking he is a wealthy client. However, when she starts to undress, John feels uncomfortable and quickly leaves to focus on his survival. John's only clue remains the Shell Beach postcard. While walking, he spots a billboard advertisement for the exact same beach and climbs up to look closer. Suddenly, he is cornered by a group of pale, bald men dressed in black trench coats. When John questions them, one of the strange men attempts to telepathically hypnotize him into falling asleep. To their shock, the hypnosis fails. Instead, John unintentionally triggers a powerful telekinetic ability within himself, shattering the billboard and killing one of his pursuers. John notices a bizarre jellyfish-like creature with tentacles escaping from the dead man's head, which instantly dies upon contact with the open air. Meanwhile, Inspector Bumstead drops Emma off at her apartment, asking her to report any sign of John. Inside, John is already waiting for her, desperate for answers. However, since Emma is just as confused by his behavior, their conversation leads nowhere. The inspector unexpectedly enters the apartment to arrest John. Refusing to believe the accusations against her husband, Emma helps John escape. Cornered by the inspector, John uses his telekinetic powers a second time, literally bending the room's architecture to create an emergency exit. John escapes in a taxi and asks the driver for directions to Shell Beach. Surprisingly, while the driver confidently claims to know the beach, he suddenly realizes he cannot remember the actual path or direction to get there. Realizing something is deeply wrong with the city's geography, John gets out of the cab. He checks the back of the postcard and finds a name, Carl. He goes to a nearby public phone booth and uses a phone book to track down Carl's address. Before heading to Carl's house, John approaches a newsagent to ask for directions. To his surprise, he notices that the newsagent's face is identical to the hotel receptionist he encountered earlier. After a 12-hour train ride, John finally arrives at Carl's house, who turns out to be his uncle. Uncle Carl is thrilled to see him and shows him childhood photos, pointing out a scar on John's arm from an old fire incident. However, when John checks his arm, there is no scar at all. He immediately realizes that these photos and his supposed past are completely fabricated. Ever since waking up, John has witnessed nothing but impossible anomalies. Clocks stopping at midnight, people collapsing into sudden slumber, the mysterious men in black trench coats. his sudden telekinetic powers, and the familiar faces in different jobs. Most chillingly, despite being awake for over 24 hours, the sun has never risen. The sky remains pitch black, proving that something is deeply wrong with this world. Overhearing the call and realizing no one believes him, John flees the house. Exactly at midnight, the entire city falls asleep once again. Vehicles stop in their tracks, but John remains completely awake. He watches in disbelief as the surrounding buildings shift, morph, and physically reconstruct themselves, proving that their reality is an illusion.
Hello?
Suddenly, the pale-skinned man ambushes John again to eliminate him. Fortunately, Emma and Inspector Bumstead arrive just in time, allowing John to escape the attack. After bringing him in, the inspector interrogates John regarding the murders. However, John turns the tables by asking him a simple question: when was the last time you saw daylight? Realizing that he cannot remember the last time it was day, the inspector is shaken. John points out all the bizarre anomalies of the city, demonstrating his telekinetic abilities to the stunned detective. Soon after, Emma arrives to see John. During their conversation, John learns about Dr. Schreiber. Having witnessed John's impossible powers firsthand, Inspector Bumstead decides to ally with him, believing John is telling the truth and hoping the doctor has the answers they need. John finally tracks down Dr. Schreiber. The doctor gets straight to the point, revealing a horrifying truth: John and everyone else in the city are mere test subjects for the pale men, known as the Strangers. He offers John a syringe filled with a serum that contains his true memories, urging him to inject it before it's too late. Suddenly, Inspector Bumstead intervenes, holding the doctor at gunpoint for conspiring with the Strangers. Instead of taking the serum, John demands that Schreiber take them to Shell Beach, a place everyone seems to remember, yet no one actually knows how to reach. At the same time, Emma is confronted by the Strangers, who are desperately hunting for John's whereabouts. Meanwhile, John, Bumstead, and Schreiber reach the edge of the city's waterfront and board a small boat. As they row out, the doctor finally explains the origins of this nightmare. He reveals that the Strangers are actually a dying race of extraterrestrial parasites. They abducted humans from Earth and brought them to this dark world, using dead human corpses as host vessels. Their true physical form is the alien parasite John witnessed earlier. The entire city is a massive controlled laboratory. Every night at midnight, the aliens put everyone to sleep to mix, match, and replace human memories. Their ultimate goal is to study the human soul and understand what makes humanity unique. Because of this experiment, people's identities are constantly rewritten. A man might be a police inspector today, but wake up as a mechanic tomorrow. This explains why the newsagent and the hotel receptionist had the exact same face. They are the same person, simply reprogrammed with a new memory and a new life. The Strangers possess a collective telekinetic power known as tuning. At exactly midnight, the aliens gather underground to combine their minds, allowing them to put the entire city to sleep, levitate, and physically reshape the city's architecture in an instant. The reason behind this experiment is survival. The Strangers are a dying race whose gelatinous true forms are highly vulnerable to harsh environments, especially oxygen, which kills them instantly upon contact. By shuffling human memories and creating new scenarios every night, they hope to extract the human soul, understanding how humans adapt, survive, and evolve. Through this, they hope to unlock the secret to saving their own species. Among all the test subjects, Dr. Schreiber is the only human chosen to serve as their assistant, because the aliens still need a human mind to help them analyze human psychology. However, the doctor's own past was also completely erased before he was forced into this role. But something unexpected happened with John Murdoch. After his memory was altered hundreds of times, his brain underwent a rapid evolution. He accidentally developed the exact same telekinetic abilities as the Strangers. Realizing he possesses their power, the aliens now view John as an immediate threat to their entire experiment. Back to their journey, John, Inspector Bumstead, and the doctor finally reach the edge of the city. Expecting to find Shell Beach behind a door, John breaks through, only to discover a large billboard poster pasted onto a solid brick wall. Determined to see what lies beyond, John and the inspector tear down the wall, despite the doctor's warnings. What they see shocks them to the core. Beyond the wall is nothing but the vast, empty vacuum of deep space. The entire city is nothing more than a giant spaceship floating in outer space. Suddenly, the strangers arrive with Emma. A fight breaks out, and during the struggle, Inspector Bumstead and one of the aliens are thrown through the breach, falling out into the vacuum of space. With Emma held hostage, John is forced to surrender and is brought to the aliens' underground headquarters. While the other strangers want to kill him, their leader, Mr. Book, has a different plan. He wants to extract John's evolved memories, believing his perfect mind holds the key to saving their species from extinction. Dr. Schreber is ordered to wipe John's mind and replace it with their collective consciousness. However, the aliens overlooked a unique human trait: the capacity for deception and betrayal. For years, Dr. Schreber had been secretly brewing a unique serum. Instead of injecting the alien consciousness, he injects John with a lifetime of fabricated memories designed to train his mind. In an instant, John undergoes a lifetime of training, fully mastering his telekinetic powers. Now fully awakened, John easily breaks free from his restraints and engages in a fierce telekinetic showdown with the alien leader. The sheer clash of their energy creates a massive explosion, destroying the underground headquarters. And tearing through the city's surface above. The battle escalates to the surface of the city, where John now flies through the air, completely mastering his reality. The alien leader hurls sharp blades at him, but John effortlessly stops them in midair with his mind. Turning the attack back on his opponent, John brutally destroys the leader of the strangers once and for all. With the aliens defeated, John returns to Dr. Schreber to ask for Emma. Unfortunately, the doctor delivers tragic news before the final showdown. Emma had already been injected with a completely new identity and set of memories. Because the alien's memory matrix storage was destroyed during the underground explosion, her original memories are lost forever. However, Dr. Schreber reveals that John now possesses telekinetic strength equivalent to their entire collective race. With this absolute power, John can now reshape the city entirely according to his own will. He uses his abilities to release a massive torrent of water, flooding the edges of the spaceship and creating a vast ocean that ends abruptly at the structural force field boundary, metaphorically turning the city into a literal flat world surrounded by water. In addition to creating the ocean, John uses his cosmic power to rotate the entire floating city ship toward a nearby star, finally bringing daylight to the world. The reason the city had been trapped in eternal night was because the strangers were completely lethal to sunlight, just as they were to oxygen. Although John may never truly uncover his real past or find out where humanity originally came from, he now has the power to rebuild the city and live a peaceful life, tailoring the world to his own desires. Even though Emma no longer remembers him and now goes by a new name, John decides to find her anyway, meeting her on a newly created pier overlooking his artificial ocean. They strike up a conversation. Though they must start completely from scratch, John is ready to build a real, normal relationship with her, this time on their own terms. And that concludes the story. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Movie No Limit for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.